Hello, Internet, and welcome to another episode of The Forgotten here on Game Nights. I almost forgot the name of the dang show there. I don't know if you guys saw me go, what are we doing? Hi,
Would you say you
I'm
had forgotten?
Savvy. Yeah,
That would have been
I
extremely
would.
fitting. Yeah.
Are you done? Are you done, Val?
Nope.
Hi, I'm Savvy. I am your dungeon master for this evening. We're here to play Dungeons and Dragons. But first, let me tell you a little bit about what we have going on the channel. This week, you can find the Game Nights regular streaming schedule. If you're here with us live, down below our faces on our drop page on Twitch. If you are with us sometime in the future, perhaps on YouTube, you can find it pinned to our Twitter. You can find it pinned to our show's channel in our Discord, all of which there are links for in the chat. You can follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, subscribe to our YouTube for all of our wonderful, I think, content. Our next live stream after this, we will not be having a stream. It doesn't look like tomorrow, because some of the Tabletop Tuesdays crew is missing. So we having a night off. So our next live stream after this will be Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a new episode of Elegant Magics, the Good Society game that your friend Sid there with the big ears runs. On Friday, we'll have a new episode of Neon Souls. On Saturday, we got Saturday Night's Mistborn, and then on Sunday, dun, 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 we will be back for episode 1 of the new season of Slang 101. That's right, I'm running Monster of the Week up in this bitch again, and I'm very excited. Yeah, that's what we got going on this week. Other than that, we've got a merch store, which I'll link in the chat for you. You can buy our merch. We've got t-shirts, we've got tank tops, we've got mugs, we've got hoodies, we've got, I think, some phone cases still. Maybe, I don't know, I'd have to check. But they're really cool. They've got all kinds of dumb stuff that we say on them, and I'm very proud of them because we made them ourselves and they're awesome. So you can buy our merch there and support the channel. And I think that's it. Oh, I'll also link the Stream Elements store there in the chat for you. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We've got a lot of stuff that you can spend your hard-earned channel XP on, so check that out. But I'm gonna let the wonderful cast here introduce themselves, tell you who they are, who they're playing, where you can find them on the internet, all that good stuff. I gotta pull up my list to see what order everybody goes in, starting with Sid.
Hey, I'm Christina Sid. You can find me on the Twitters at Greek Sid, almost exclusively talking about the stuff that I do here, as I am a GGK exclusive. It makes sense. It seems fair. I'm here on Mondays and Thursdays running the game, like Savvy mentioned, and on Fridays and every other Saturday, and on Sundays. It's good fun. Tonight I'm playing Marta. Marta is a fearful warlock.
All right, next up is Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan, also known as Imagine Matrix on the internet. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, where I mainly do cosplay. So if you like cosplay, you can check it out. I'm currently here on Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays. And today I'm playing Aurelio Carlin, who is a half-elf druid.
All right, Sam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sam. You can find me everywhere on the internet as Macaroni, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I am currently here on Mondays and Fridays. I am also a cosplayer, and if you follow me on social media, that's pretty much what you're going to get. Also, maybe some tabletop stuff. I tonight am playing Gladness, who is a tiefling bard.
And last but not least, Val.
Hello, everybody. I'm Val. You can find me at the Kraken's Crown on Twitter and Twitch. I am here like everyone else. Thursdays through Mondays, I run 3 games on this channel currently. On Fridays, I run a game called Neon Souls. It's a cyberpunk game. Well, now sci-fi, cyberpunk, sci-fi punk game at 9 o'clock on Fridays. And on Saturdays, I run alternating games. Savannah mentioned one, Saturday Night's Mistborn, which I have a session of this week. We're playing the Mistborn RPG. And then on alternating weeks from that, I run a game called Saturday Night's Star Power, where we're playing Fate in a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure inspired universe. So come hang out with those. They're a lot of fun. But tonight I am playing Pod, the Kobold Soul Knife Rogue.
Right. That's everybody and who they are. Here we go. You all ready to play D&D? Yeah, all right. Let's have a recap, shall we? Previously on The Forgotten, the Rescue Brigade set out on their first adventure as a team. After stopping over in the small traveler's town of Brunchton for the night, they completed the last leg of their journey to Greenest. Though they were all making the trek for their own reasons, they quickly banded together for a single one when they crested a hill and saw groups of bandits attacking a dragon flying low overhead and buildings burning in the town. They rushed in, putting out fires, rescuing a family caught unawares by a kobold ambush, and running off some of the attackers. They began to make their way toward the center of town, where Pod and Marta encountered Red, the dwarven castellan of Greenest, who encouraged them to follow him to the keep, where they would be safe. Upon arriving, the 4 adventurers were introduced to Governor Tarbaugh Nighthill, the injured leader of Greenest, who implored them to help save his town. At his behest, they set off toward Greenest's mill, where giant lizard creatures, kobolds, and strange people in silver masks were preparing to burn the mill to the ground. Gladness and Marta disguised themselves as members of the attacking group and approached, while Pod and Leo, who had transformed herself into a mouse, hid in the shadows, waiting for the time to strike. So that's pretty much where we're going to pick back up. 2 of you are disguised, 2 of you are hiding. I've got real quick the rundown once again of where sort of everyone is. You've got essentially some folks split up into a couple of groups out in front of the mill. There's one of these people again in the silver sort of spiked on the sides masks. A very, very large lizard creature and several kobolds. And then around the back, you have a few kobolds and a couple of people in robes. So, what would you like to do?
Glad still also has that lovely guest of honor spell cast on him, which basically gives you a bless to charisma checks for the next 10 minutes.
Checks.
Also a reminder that Pod can communicate with everyone telepathically in case we need to relay any messages.
That lasts for several hours this time, right?
I think I rolled
5 hours, I think.
5
5?
hours.
Okay.
God, I'm gonna have to keep track of that between sessions.
It's been like an hour.
Okay. I think Pod told them what they were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I was concerned. Glad was concerned that there was nobody there to talk to, and it was just kind of like kobolds and a lizard. But
Masked figures behind back.
behind back, I do believe, yes.
Okay.
Well, Marta, do we want to sneak around back?
I don't know if we need to sneak.
A relative term. Walk.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. We're gonna go around back.
Okay.
Telepathically.
Go.
So Pod is going to say, if you keep their attention, I can try to lay a trap for the big lizard thing.
Diversion. I can do that. Cool.
Okay. So Gladness and Marta, disguised as a couple of these masked folks, you make your way around the back of the building that houses the mill. The bottom of it essentially looks like kind of like a big, I don't know, not really a warehouse, but like a barn. It's just a big square wooden building, essentially, that houses sort of the mill works. So you make your way around the side and around to the back, where a couple of these robed figures and a few kobolds are sort of going out into one of the fields and picking up like straw and kindling and kind of piling it against the back wall. They don't say anything as you approach. They just kind of continue what they're doing.
Okay, cool. Can I do something? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you. Go ahead. We're all too goddamn polite. You go now.
I was gonna do a thing where before we were like within visible eye shot, I was gonna do the thing where you like run in place and make yourself breathe really hard, and then run up and go. And go, they dealt with the dragon in town. Is that a problem?
There's one of these tall, like, masked figures sort of coming back around the corner towards the group, and upon hearing this, I think sort of jogs over. What did you say?
In town. The town where we just were. Don't remember the name of it. But the whole dragon thing that happened there, they're fine. There were some people there that came and like helped, and they're fine. I don't. I feel like that's a problem.
They dealt with a dragon?
Yeah, I didn't see if the dragon's okay or not. Like, I'm not sure. But there were definitely some spells being fired off. There was definitely some like rescuing happening. Something went wrong, and I'm not sure what it is.
I'm gonna have you roll deception.
But I'm not lying.
Persuasion?
I'll do persuasion. Hold on, I'm just gonna keep that.
Yeah, most of that was true. Sam runs away.
While Gladys doing that, I had an idea.
I returned.
Marta, while Gladys distracting this particular masked figure, seeing the kobolds and people like going into the field to grab like kindling and stuff and bring it back to start like the burninating, Marta's just gonna step very casually over as if she's gonna help like gather kindling, but instead, as one of her warlock thingies, it's gonna cast bee speech so she can talk to the little animals in the field.
Okay. You cast a spell. There's little like field mice and stuff running around. Let's do Gladness. What'd you roll?
13.
Is that with the extra? Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
I should have let it be
bad.
deception. It would have been better.
Let me pull up the dang character sheet. Come on.
Did you argue to use your less better skill?
Yeah, I argued to use my less better
Heck
skill.
is, what is insight? Wisdom?
Yes.
Okay, well, she rolled a 6. So go, we're back on right right back on track from where we left off. So yeah, she doesn't. You're wearing a mask. She can't read your facial expression for clues. You're messing with her. Under her breath, she goes, "Shit. All right. I've got to report this. You stay here. Watch them.
Yeah.
We got to get this done."
Yeah, go do what you need to do. I'll stay right here.
And she turns, sort of cloak flying, and heads off in sort of in the direction that she came, back towards the outskirts of the town.
I can communicate back to Pod, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I communicate telepathically back to Pod and say, one's gone. Just gone.
Good. What's the dragon doing?
No idea.
Pod, I think you and Leo can see it from where you are. It's just kind of like pacing back and forth in front of the mill.
I said dragon, I meant lizard, but
Oh,
It's a little dragon.
still no idea.
everything's big enough to be a dragon to Pod.
I assume you meant the lizard. Okay, so she runs off. You let Pod know. Marta.
I'm
You
talking
cast-
to field mice.
Yes. What would you like to talk to them about? Now, is this the one?
This is
one
not
where
the
you can-
Fearbolg one where like she can talk but they don't understand. This is like speak with animals. She has
Okay, got it.
a warlock invocation that she has beast speech, so she can talk. She can cast speak with animals at will.
Great. That means I don't have to describe a bunch of gestures. I can just have it talk back. Okay, so yeah, a little brown field mouse sort of runs up to you as you begin to speak to it. What do you think?
Hi. I'm
Hello.
Marta. Hi. I had a favor to ask, and if you want help, I'll give you some of this bread I got in my bag.
What's the favor?
You see that big tower over there? They're kind of piling up like a bunch of straw and sticks and stuff in front of it. Could you get a bunch of your friends to like take it back into the field?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Great.
It's ours anyway.
Exactly, yeah. They didn't ask, did they? That's kind of mean.
No.
Yeah. Here, how about I give you a little bit of the bread now, and I'll give you a little bit of the bread after.
All right, you got a deal.
It sits up on its back legs and sticks out a little paw.
She'll put her little pinky, shake.
Come on, fellas. We're going to war.
And a ton of mice come running out of the fields and making their way up to the back of the mill. And you hear some squeaks both from them and from the kobolds as they are overtaken by field mice, who I'm not going to have anything bad happen to because that's just mean. They start taking some of the straw and kindling and carrying it back out into the fields, much to the chagrin of the folks that are trying to set this mill on fire.
Marta just stands by the field, and she'll very casually like take some rations out of her pocket and like break it in half, and then put it down on the ground for the field mice.
Glad has a ton of mice run by your feet.
The fuck?
She'll message to Pod. I made some friends. They're helping.
All right. Second step of operation complete. On to
Take
phase
back
3.
what is ours.
She'll put her fist down for like some of the passing mice to fist bump.
Yeah.
Now I want an army of mice to follow us around for the rest of the game.
Oh, you better get on rolling some persuasion checks, I guess. Okay, so that's happening. This is a strong start, I think, today.
Isn't Leo still a mouse too?
Yes.
And I have an idea for Leo to help.
Okay.
Okay, what's phase 3 of the plan?
All right, Leo, we got to deal with the big lizard.
Huh?
If I set up a trap for it over here, can you lead it this way?
I think so.
Okay.
Do you want me to
When
lead it
I'm
this
ready.
way as a mouse or as me?
Probably a mouse. Something
Okay.
edible.
Am I not edible as me?
I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
Okay. Well, I suppose I'll just stay a mouse then.
All right, give me a second. And Pod is going to set up an elaborate trap.
Okay, what is this trap?
Pod goes back to their bag, which they've stashed somewhere a little bit further away from the mill, and is going to get their 50 feet of hemp rope, a sack, their pittons, a hammer, and their caltrops. No.
Okay.
No, I don't think the caltrops are necessary.
Don't they just also have a bear trap?
Yeah, they do. I'm trying to do this in a
I
way
thought you
that's
had
not
that.
like... I don't want to
Super
hurt the lizard.
obvi. Okay. Oh, you don't
I
want to
don't
hurt
have
it.
to. It's like cousin. I'm
It's
gonna.
just it's like a big kobold dog.
Yeah. So what Pod wants to do is like somewhere beside, like near enough to the mill, but not where all the kobolds are currently piling up, kindling. Is going to take this big sack they have. How big is this lizard?
How big is this lizard?
Is it dog-sized?
Well, hold on. Let me
Bigger
look
than
up how big,
dog-sized. This might not work.
how big dog is in D&D. It's looking for how big is a mastiff? Is a mastiff medium?
I think so.
It's about the size. It's like a long mastiff.
Okay, I can deal with that. So takes this sack, opens up the opening part of the sack, and kind of spreads it out on the ground, covers it with some like kindling. Is there any like other buildings nearby?
Where
Or like
you
a
are,
tree or something?
Is trees. Sure.
Okay, tree would work. Is basically gonna set up like a trap to catch it. So like piles like branches and leaves and stuff on top of it. Ties the rope off to it and then like conceals the rope underground, or like not on the, like under more roughage, and then uses the pittons to like work up a like counterweight system, and then
Okay.
goes up to like a very large branch, ties the rope off to that, and then tries and like hacks it so that it's like mostly broken off but not quite, as like a counterweight.
Okay. So the point
Enough.
being, when it gets on the sack,
We can,
it'll drop
Right.
the counterweight, and the sack will.
yeah, we'll pull it up
Get
into
it?
the tree.
Gotcha. How fast do you think Pod can do this?
I think they can. I think the thing that's going to take the longest is actually cutting through the tree branch, because I don't really have anything that's good for that.
No, you can't psychically cut a tree.
No.
Kobolds aren't part beaver.
Don't
No,
think
unfortunately not. If I do enough, if I provide enough fulcrums for to distribute the weight, can I get it to the point where Pod's weight would be enough to lift it up?
Probably.
'Cause I think
You're out
it's
here
like-
trying to make me do science.
If I remember my physics, it's like each fulcrum reduces it by a certain percent. Like it cuts the weight.
Oh, you're right.
In half. So.
Damn you, simple machines!
I have 10 pittons. If I can create a few fulcrums for it.
Fine.
Pod weighs 25 pounds. Math. I don't know how much the lizard weighs.
Well, there's not a wizard. I don't know how much the lizard weighs. About as much as a large dog.
Okay.
60, 70 pounds.
Oh, that's easy. Okay, so twice as much, like 2 to 3 times as much as...
Yeah, I think that'll work because it's fun and I like it.
Okay.
I don't need any other justification.
Pod's intelligence of 14 is only to build traps. That's the only thing they're smart about.
Okay. So we'll say you've been doing this while Gladness and Marta were making their way over and getting the mice and talking to the masked figure. So you get this ready. Trap set.
All right, Leo. You're on. I just needed to step there.
Okay. Leo's gonna run up to the lizard, I guess, and start punching its foot with their tiny mouse hands.
Okay. I think it takes it a second to notice. But it does. And it looks down at you and is going to immediately try to snap you up.
Oh no!
In its big jaws. I assume you're hitting it a lot and then running away.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no. Okay. Where's the dex? Right there.
If Glad knew that this was the plan that y'all came up with, he would drop kick Pod.
Rolled an 8.
Okay. It's gonna roll real quick. Okay, well, it rolled a 7. I can't win. All right.
No way!
I feel like it. Yeah, I'm about to have to screenshot these rolls and post them in Discord because they're really bad. Okay, so yeah, it just misses you as you leap out of the way and go sprinting off towards Pod's trap that he has set. Now, I'm going to assume that it is faster than you. Is there a mice? Is there a mouse?
I think so.
I don't see a mouse. There's a rat.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would it be too much to Ocean's 11 this and cut back to Pod laying down a bunch of ball bearings in the path that Leo is going to be running to slow down the lizard?
The lizard? Yeah, you can have done that. I like that. I don't see a mouse, so I'll just use a rat sheet, so that would give you 20 feet of speed. And the dragon has 30. So it is going to gain on you. Leo, you go bounding off toward the trap. It'll start gaining on you, but it's going to make a saving throw for not slipping and falling on a bunch of ball bearings. And it just still rolls really bad. Okay. It doesn't fall, but as the drake starts to chase you, it starts to slip a little bit and has to stop momentarily to get its bearing again. But then sort of strafes to the side and continues to run after you. But I think it has it's fallen far enough behind that it's not just going to immediately eat you. Gladness and Marta, I think you all see the drake, as it were, go sort of charging off in the direction of a large tree on the outskirts of town. And just as it sort of reaches underneath this tree, you see it sort of rear back and go to bite at something. Leo, I'm gonna have you make one more dex save
Oh no. Okay.
to get out of the way.
That's a 9.
9. Okay, it's gonna roll. That's a fucking 7 again. Listen, when you guys have to fight an actual dragon, that's when they're gonna be there. It goes to snap at you, but you leap backwards, sort of out of the way, rolling through the grass just in time for Pod to trigger the trap. Pod jumps out of a tree. I think you all see this. I think Gladness and Marta can see this from where you are. You see Pod appear, jump out of a tree, holding on to a rope, and then you see this cloth that you could not previously see on the ground just kind of go whoom, around the lizard and hoist it up into the tree.
We did it.
You know, I'm impressed.
Pod quickly starts running around the tree to tie it off. Says, "Good job."
All right, so it's starting to struggle up there. That the sack is not going to hold it forever, but it'll hold it for a little bit. It's eventually going to be able to claw through it. But for now, it is stuck in the bag.
I take a bag of caltrops and I drop it on the ground underneath where the lizard, where that sack is hanging, just as just for good measure, and say, "All right, lizard's dealt with. I don't know why I'm doing the thing with my ear like this is a fucking spy drama. Just gotta deal with the kobolds."
Yep. Can't talk to them. I mean, I could try, but...
I mean, you're wearing the mask. They'll probably listen to you.
Oh, shit, you're right. I'm gonna try talking to the kobolds.
You gonna try talking to the kobolds?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did
So as they're trying to hold back these mice and keep their hay and kindling there, what do you say?
I'm gonna go up to them and say, "What are you doing? We just had half of our team run off and you're here still trying to do this. What do you think is more important?"
Oh, we're just doing what we were told to do.
"Well, I'm telling you, you need to follow her." And I point off in the direction of the other person that was wearing the mask that ran off. You need to follow her and find out what you need to do next, because our plans are changing. The dragon got dealt with in town and things are going wrong. So you need to go follow her now. Now I'm lying.
I was about to say, yeah, I think you can roll deception for that one.
Okay, let's see.
Can Pod give advantage to the roll? By being nearby and in Draconic, just being like, "Yeah, he's a good point."
I guess.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
You just ran over there?
I assume this is all pretty close together.
I'll allow it.
Okay, cool. And I still have the +2. So with the +2.
You have the D4.
And the D4, okay. I need to get that out. I hate math, and I hate me, the scientist. I hate math. Okay. So that is
STEM's
16.
important, kids.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny. You sort of shout this out at them, and hearing Pod kind of say, "Oh yeah, he's got a point," in Draconic.
Yeah.
Do they speak Draconic?
I'm pretty sure that was my kobold language that I got.
Is
so.
it? It is, yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember if they were like goblins and had their own language. No, they speak Draconic. That would make sense given, I don't know, the name of the entire adventure. So yeah, you, Gladness, you say this and they nod. very quickly sort of look to the rest of the kobolds like, oh, we should go. And they drop the kindling that they were holding, and about 6 kobolds just start to scurry off around the building and follow the masked woman who you sent away. And you're now alone behind the mill.
I do a little dance.
Is it a Snoopy dance?
I saw that.
Shit. Cool. Well, kobolds dealt with.
All right.
And my mice are catching up with all the kindling and stuff.
What do we want to do with the drake in the tree?
It's probably not going to be up there for very long. But I don't think it's going to set the mill on fire on its own.
That's a good point.
We got
So
them all to
checking.
go away. How do we
Should we-
keep them away?
That's a good question.
Anybody
check
cast
inside?
illusions?
No.
I can, but only on like one
One person.
person.
I'm going to look inside just in case.
Good idea. Look at my spells.
You wanna look inside the mill? Okay, so you make your way around the side to one of the doors. Are you being sneaky?
Yes.
Go ahead and roll stealth.
Okay.
Leo has a mouse still with Pod again, or
Pod would have brought her unless she
Okay.
wanted to run off and do her own thing.
no? I mean, she's mouse. She'll probably just go.
That's a 22.
Okay. You sneak inside the mill. This bottom part of the building is, like I said, essentially just like a rectangular wooden building. It's like a barn. You sort of slide the doors open just enough for you to squeeze inside. Inside, sort of on the main floor, most of it is dominated by this like massive stone grinding wheel, the mechanics of the mill. And down on your right, on one end, there's like a ladder leading up to a loft.
Go up to the loft.
Okay, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Arrow perception too.
7.
That is 21.
Okay, Pod, you don't see this. Leo, you do. As Pod goes for the ladder to climb up into the loft, you see behind a couple of crates that are up in the loft, you see something shift, like someone was sort of looking around the side and then has now hidden back behind the crates.
Hey, Pod.
Yep.
I think something's up there.
Okay.
So just be like extra sneaky, or like maybe not go up there at all, or maybe like go up there but like just be extra sneaky.
Okay.
Maybe like throw a rock up there.
That seems to be the least sneaky option. I'm just gonna go really quietly.
Okay. You climb up into the loft. What do you do?
I try to sneak over to where Leo pointed out she saw movement.
Okay. You go to move over toward those crates, and you get about halfway there before a few someones jump out from behind the crates, brandishing weapons at you. They don't get a surprise round, but they are going to attack. So it looks like 4. Let's see some music. Really exciting. Yeah. So it looks like 4 sort of humanoid creatures taller than you in these like dark, a couple of them in these dark like black robes, a couple of them in more like adventuring type gear, like breeches, shirts, that kind of thing. So they're brandishing swords, and one of them shouts, the rest of them jump out, and I'm gonna have you guys roll initiative.
Okay. Do they shout anything like "for greenest" and it's very clear that they're not with the cult, or do they seem like culty?
The ones in robes seem pretty culty.
Okay.
I think. There's that guy.
Yeah. Those masks seem pretty culty.
Well, that's just the token. They're not wearing masks.
Ah.
Just using that to keep track of their HP.
I rolled a 22.
Okay. You put yourself on the tracker. I'm gonna have Gladness and Marta go ahead and roll 2, because y'all are right outside and you're probably gonna hear this happen pretty shortly.
I rolled. Where did the rest of my sheet go?
Marta got an 18, which means she rolled an 18. Because she has a 0 on her initiative.
Excellent. See, Leo. It's got 17. 173 is what I've typed. 17. And. Gladness, what you got?
A 21. I got it.
Marta rolls good, and everybody else rolls better. Okay, whatever. I see how it is.
All right, let's get. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Get these fools.
Thanks for adding me. I'm bad at this.
You fine.
Initiative. Well, do the other one, please. Right, they'll use the 7. So they just up. Good. Okay. Pod. You get to go first.
When they jumped out, are they like in melee?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question for you. I have pack tactics. If I have an ally within 5 feet of them, I get advantage. Leo is technically within 5 feet of them.
Yeah,
She's on your shoulder.
It didn't really sound like a question.
Can I get pack tactics from Mouse Leo?
Yeah.
Riding on my shoulder.
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
That goes by the rules. That's what the rules say.
Okay.
She's not an ordinary mouse.
She super isn't.
She's an extraordinary mouse.
Pod is gonna try to stab the closest one to them in the face.
Okay. It's probably one of these bandit-looking types.
Sure. All right. It's good. It's not good. So that's 21 to hit.
To hit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's 1, 6. Okay, it bounces out. That's 11 points of psychic damage.
Okay. Pod, you summon your daggers. They're daggers, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like semi-corporeal psychic blades. That.
Yeah. So you summon your blades, and you reach out to strike this person before he can strike you. And as you do, the blade sort of hits, but doesn't leave a physical wound. As he sort of reaches up and grabs his head, and you see his eyes just sort of roll back, and he just drops.
Pod just looks up and shouts out them, "Bring it on!" and is going to use bonus action to disengage.
Okay.
And it's going to do some Pirates of the Caribbean shit, and I'm hoping there's like a very conveniently placed rope hanging from the ceiling or something that they can swing down from.
Yeah, because there would have to be a pulley to get stuff up and down into the loft. So.
Yeah, is going to just swing down on that back to the ground floor of the mill and towards the entrance, and just yelling to the others, "There were more! There were more!"
Okay. You swing down, and Marta and Gladness outside, you hear Pod yell, "Bring it on!" And then voice getting closer and closer and closer. "There are more." Multiple times. So I think you can get in on this. Gladness, it is your turn.
I'm gonna run toward the mill.
Okay. Yeah, you guys were just sort of outside around the back, so you can make it into the mill, in the door, probably into like the center, and you can see Pod running towards you, and then up in the loft there are some shapes, some figures up there.
Cool. I'm going to cast a cantrip,
Okay.
and that cantrip is called Eldridge Blast.
I love this one. Okay. Tell us what it does.
Eldridge
I like that one
Blast.
too.
It's so good. A stream of ice cold ale blasts from your outstretched hands towards a creature or object within range. It's a ranged spell check. On a hit, it takes 1d8 cold damage and must make a successful Constitution saving throw or be poisoned until the end of its next turn.
Okay, so you fling this blast up into the loft. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Cool. Oh no! Oh no. That is a 9 to hit.
That misses, unfortunately.
Yeah.
As Pod has directed their attention to the door, they see you coming in, and the one you fling it towards sort of dives out of the way, and it hits sort of frothing and leaving a sort of frozen spot on like a big hay bale.
That's not what I wanted to do.
Anything else?
That was my action and my movement, so no, that's it.
Okay. Marta.
Hi. Marta's gonna run inside and see what's going on. And
see
then
much the same thing that Gladness
see
did.
much of the same stuff. And she's going to... Okay, no one is hurt except for the one that's dead, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll save Toll the Dead for later then. Then she's gonna be a warlock and do Eldridge Blast.
Okay. Which, when Marta says it, sounds like Eldridge Blast. Very
But
funny.
it's Eldridge Blast.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Well, it's 11 plus 4 is a 15.
Yep, that'll do it.
Alright.
All right, do you want this to go to one of the robed figures or the armored figure? Their armor class is the same, so it doesn't matter.
Armored figure.
All right, towards the big boy.
2 points of force damage.
2 points of force damage as the... What color are your Eldritch Blasts?
Today, they are a lovely violet, sparkly purple.
As this violet, sparkling purple bolt hits him, sort of knocking him in the shoulder, kind of searing. Well, no, it's not. That's just force damage, right?
Yeah, force damage.
So sort of crunching in the armor on his shoulders, pauldron. Anything else? Bonus action? I guess you guys don't have a lot of bonus action stuff right now.
No, not yet. So
Cool.
that's it. Yep. There we go.
Leo, did you stay on Pod's shoulder, or are you still up in the loft?
Stay on Pod's shoulder.
Okay.
You said that one of them's armored, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to use my bonus action to revert back to my elven form, half-elven form.
Okay. So
No, I'm going to hop off
Pod to death.
as I hop off.
So yeah, you hop off Pod's shoulder, and you turn back into yourself. Leo, for the other two of you, appears in the center of the room, seemingly from nowhere.
Yep. And I'm going to cast Heat Metal on the armored one.
Okay.
Which is choose a manufactured metal object, such as a metal weapon, receive heavy or medium metal armor that you can see within range. You cause the object to glow red hot. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage when you cast the spell. Until the spell ends, you can use a bonus action on each of your subsequent turns to cause this damage again. If a creature is holding or wearing the object and takes the damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of your next turn.
Ba-da-da-ba-da. I love that spell.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so he has to roll. Yes.
Constitution saving throw.
A Constitution saving.
So it takes 2d8 fire damage first.
And then the save is just not to drop.
Yeah.
Which he can't really drop
What he's wearing.
his armor. Okay, so he's just gonna take damage, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that is... Hold on. 13 points of damage.
Okay, so you turn around, you cast heat metal at him, and you can see the metal plates on his armor start to heat up and glow, and he starts to scream. And that's a lot it's a lot of damage. So I'm gonna say, I think you when you cast the spell, you put a lot of power behind it, maybe a little more than even you were expecting, and you see the armor like heat up to the point of becoming sort of soft, and as he starts to scream and like claw at it, his skin starts to kind of blacken all around his neck and everything, and after a moment the screaming stops and he drops, unfortunately, into next to a bale of hay, which is going to subsequently catch fire and start to smolder up in the loft. Bandit, don't get a turn. Anything else?
Oops.
Spent so much effort trying to not set this place on fire.
It's little right now. Okay, so that is going to be the cultists' turns. The bandits are super dead. Yeah, so one of them... Oh, you know what? They're gonna roll. Yep, that's what I thought. One of them is going to be brave, and is just rolled some wisdom saves. for them. One of them is going to be brave and is going to grab onto the rope that Pod swung down on and sort of swing down and land right behind you, Pod, and try to strike you with a scimitar that it holds in its hand. That is a 19. All right, it does 4 slashing damage.
Ow, my body.
Not that much. Just a scimitar. As it sort of slashes down across your back as you were running away from it. That is his turn. The other cultist is going to look around, look at the fire starting next to him, look down at all of you, and turn around, and out the window he goes. Sort of landing very hard on one side, and you hear a kind of a cry as he disappears. Odd. That would make it your turn.
All right.
Let me roll him a dexterity save. Hold on. All right.
Please say the fall kills him.
You guys don't know what happened to him. But you heard a yelp when he landed. But you don't know. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he rode off on the back of a dragon. Pod, it's your turn.
Pod has a cunning plan. And turns around to the one that just slashed them. And just starts yelling, "Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please, please don't kill me. Please, I beg. I'll stop. I promise. Please don't kill me." And is going to use grovel, cower, and beg.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which means until the end of my next turn, your allies gain advantage on attack rolls against enemies within 10 feet of you that can see you.
Okay, so they have advantage against this one guy.
Yeah, that's my action, though, so I can't do anything else, but everyone else has advantage on attacking him now.
Okay, he looks slightly taken aback. But doesn't do anything, because it's not his turn. It's Gladness's.
Kick his ass, Glad.
I'm debating trying to put the fire out.
I can do that. You kick
can
his
do
ass.
that?
Yeah,
Alright, I'll
I'll
kick his
run
ass.
up there and do that. You kick his ass.
Hold my flower. All right, I'm going to. Ooh, should I? I like spells. Spells are fun. That's what I do. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Dissonant Whispers on this dude. Whisper a discordant melody that only one creature of your choice in a range can hear, racking it with terrible pain. Target must take a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from you.
Okay. Wisdom save?
Yes.
Does an 8 do it? The numbers, they're getting bigger.
Let us see. I don't believe so.
Your DC's got to be higher than 8.
Yeah. No,
unless your charisma is negative, which I don't.
No.
Okay, so 3d6 damage then.
Cool.
It's
I
probably
hope
gonna
I
kill
don't kill this man.
Well,
Kill this
he's
man
got.
with-
Well, you tell me how much damage you do.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
let's
guys
see.
can see their hit points or not. Oh, good. He's got 70 hit points.
11.
Okay, well, he had 9, so
Oh no.
you cast the spell, and that sort of whispering, discordant melodies, you hear it as well, I assume, because you can manipulate it, starts to fill his ears, and much like his bandit friend before him, he sort of grabs his head and Pod it in front of you. He just lets out a terrible scream, and his eyes roll back in his head, and he drops
I'm gonna let Pod think he did that.
to the ground.
Or they did that. My bad. But I'm gonna let Pod think they did that.
So, well,
Marta's gonna run up top and try to put out the fire.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
Leo's.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Leo's gonna go with. And, shape her water from her like water skin out and splash it on the fire.
Okay, yeah. Between the two of you with the shape water, then with Marta, who I assume has very large hands and
Yes, and very big feet.
And big feet and stuff. You
Stomp,
stamp
stomp,
out and put out the fire, sort of putting some water over it, Leo, to make sure the embers don't spread. There's a little sort of scorched spot on the side of this hay bale, but nothing is terribly worse for wear. But from
turn that around.
Just turn the veil around to the
You
wall
just-
so no one sees it.
the two of you just
Yes.
sort of turn the hay bale to the side, push it up against the wall. Nobody will know. They'll assume that the bandits did it.
How will
Exactly.
you know? Who will know?
But from where you
Much better.
are, out the window, where the other one fled, you hear a whimpering sound coming from outside.
Maybe we should go get that one. Talk to him.
Yeah. Pod like kicks the body a couple times.
I'm gonna go get the one downstairs and grab him and pick him up and bring him inside. I'll be right
But
back.
we are not keeping him.
I'm gonna keep him inside so we can talk
Yes,
to him.
that's fine. We can keep him inside. That's great. We don't. That's fine.
How else
Just go
would
get
I
him.
keep? Okay.
Just go get him. Just go get him.
Still dresses the
Oh yeah, how long do your disguises last?
I think like
they're
an
both-
hour.
Because they're both magical, right? Aren't they both disguised self?
Yeah,
I think it's an hour.
Look,
an hour. Yeah.
that's very funny. Okay.
So we're both
so yeah,
still just like close.
Still cultists.
it's only been a little bit, maybe like, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes. You still got a while because you had to come down here and everything. So yeah. So Marta, this song is too much for me right now. Marta, you head outside and around the building, and you see a young man in a black robe, the hood sort of fallen back away from his face, sitting on the ground, very near probably where he landed when he jumped out the window, holding his leg, like his ankle.
All right, I gotcha. Scoop him up.
Don't come any closer.
I want help. Can I help?
I just watched you kill 2 people.
I didn't kill nobody.
Maybe not you. Your friends.
Do you want me to help with your ankle?
No. You're just gonna kill me.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Have you roll persuasion?
No, yeah.
As this conversation goes on for the next 20 minutes.
Yep.
What is my persuasion? Okay.
Okay. That's a dirty 20.
Oh, wow. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Boy, howdy. I have not rolled. I've rolled exactly 1 dice where the result was above like an 8 on the dice. He watches you for a moment, and as you sort of very, very simply just say, "No, I'm not gonna hurt you," he kind of relaxes a little bit and kind of slumps his shoulders. All right, fine.
All right, I gotcha. Here we go. Scoop.
Scoop
Turn
him up,
around.
take him inside.
Take him inside.
All right. You carry him inside, set him down somewhere, I assume. You lean him up against the like the big stone mill in the center. And yeah, you all see this young man. He's again pretty young human. I mean, probably like early 20s at most. Kind of like sandy brown hair, this dark robe that he's wearing, the hood pushed back, and he starts to unlace his boot so he can see what the damage is to his ankle. But as he does so, he's kind of like warily looking around at all of you. Still pretty guarded, but convinced that at least Marta's not going to kill him right away.
All right, if you hold that still, I can get some sticks and we'll make a little splinty for you, okay?
All right.
Marta gets a couple sticks and starts splinting up his leg.
Okay. Go ahead and roll medicine.
Not bad. That's a 19.
Oh yeah, that's plenty. So you take some sticks, make a splint, wrap it up, sort of set it so it's not going to be injured any further. It's definitely busted. It's probably broken. You can at least set it to where he won't damage it any further until he can actually have something done about it. And he just kind of mutters, thanks. Why are you helping me?
Because you got hurt.
He just looks immensely confused.
I answer your question. Why are you working with a cult?
Cuz?
Do you like it? Is it fun?
No, I mean, most people don't do their jobs for fun.
Well, why not?
Because I need the money to live. Can't really be choosy.
All right. Well, are you good at other stuff?
Like what?
I don't know. What'd you like to do when you were growing up?
I don't know.
Do you play music, or do you build stuff, or you collect stuff, or I don't know. Do you have a hobby?
I mean, I guess I like to bake.
Well, we need bakers in the world, don't we?
I guess.
Well, why don't you work on being a baker then? Seems like it'd be more fun than being a cultist.
Well, there's no one here for me to apprentice under, and I don't have the money to start my own shop. I probably don't even have a house anymore.
So you're from here?
Nearby.
Well, you get all the way here. So couldn't you go to another town and apprentice there?
By myself? I don't have any money. I don't have a
Well,
horse.
how much did you make doing all this culting stuff?
Well, not much, to be honest. But enough. To live, anyway.
Digs around her pocket, pulls out 5 gold.
Wait, do I still have those shoes?
Yeah, unless you did something with them. The loafers?
I did not. The really nice ones.
Yeah.
Cool. I hating, it's just like not loving like what he's hearing. Gladness rummages around in his pack and pulls out the loafers and unceremoniously throws them at this kid, and he goes, sell those.
Wait a second, hold on.
He scoops them up.
Well, those are the real nice ones.
Yep.
Yeah, those are
What?
my shoes I asked you to sell.
All right, kid, sell those, and you can keep a commission. You can keep my commission. Fair?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Todd, you still get the rest.
I don't like it.
All right, how
He tried
about
to
this?
kill us.
Kid,
Why are we giving him stuff?
because sometimes you do things you gotta do for reasons you don't like.
Okay. That's a bullshit
Hey,
answer, but fine. I liked those
That being
shoes.
said-
Hey, can I buy those shoes off you for 5 gold?
Pod, it's as big as your one shoe is as big as your head.
Dude, these are Revelor. They're worth like 100 times that.
Alright. 5 gold and I won't stab you.
Odd.
Don't stab him. You're gonna get more than 5 gold if he sells them.
I don't even understand what's so special about the shoes, but if they're worth so much, are they like magical or something? You're just giving him magic shoes?
No,
Have
they're
you
just
ever-
expensive shoes.
Have you ever had shoes with good arch support? That's basically magic, dog.
I don't wear shoes.
Oh, I'm about to open up a whole new world for you.
Right. How about this? If you don't bring back the money from the shoes, and we'll discuss a fair commission on it, you don't bring back the rest of the funds, we will come find you and then we will kill you. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Pod, sound good?
Yeah, what's your name?
Quinn.
Alright, Quinn. Pod brings out like a scrap of paper and writes down Quinn's name on it.
Will you be here? In town?
For a little while.
Yeah. We can stay for what? A day or two?
I no offense, so I can bring it back tomorrow.
All right.
And no more Colton.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Alright, Quinn. Who's in charge of this whole thing?
I mean, which whole thing? The town, the cult thing.
The cult. Let's go with that one.
I'm really not supposed to say.
Well, you're not supposed to do a few things, and you did them anyway, so what's one more mistake?
No, you don't understand. Well, I'm really not supposed to say.
Pretty sure you're also not supposed to desert, but you're gonna do that.
Well, a bunch of people just saw you fall out a window. So
We could tell them you're
we
dead.
can fake your death. And then you don't have to worry about it because you can do whatever you want.
That's actually really smart.
Well, thank you.
All right. There's this woman. She's well, she used to be a cleric. She's I don't really know what she is now. Some kind of powerful, magical something. Her name's Amalia.
Is she here?
Yeah, somewhere. Purple robes, real short brown hair, big staff. Kinda can't miss her.
What's the cult want?
Well, a lot of stuff. I guess it depends on who you ask.
What does Amalia want?
You gotta swear you're gonna help me fake my death. I could get in so much trouble. They'll kill me.
I grabbed you from outside and you were at death's door. And then, because we're awful, terrible people, we dragged you inside and we murdered you.
Yeah, just give us the robes. You dress like take the clothes from the other guy up there I stabbed. Switch,
The one
we
that's
burn
not
the other
melted.
body. Yeah, the non-melted one.
See, we're good for our word because we melted a guy.
I really didn't mean to melt him.
Yeah, I still haven't totally come to terms with that happening.
I mean, I didn't mean to.
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, you melted the shit out of him.
Yeah, I haven't really killed anyone before, so.
Death's a part of life.
Congratulations.
I don't like either of those answers, really.
All right, listen. I don't know a whole lot. I'm kind of on the bottom of the pyramid, as it were. But I know where some folks are who do know.
That works.
We made camp south of here. It's about 10, 12 miles. You got to go through green fields. When you get to the southernmost part, it kind of turns into those rocky plateaus where the fields stop. Right around one of those, there's a camp.
How many people at the camp?
I don't know. When everybody from tonight goes back, maybe 100.
Well, that's a lot.
Well, some of them aren't with us.
Who they with?
They got some prisoners.
Oh.
Hostages, mostly.
How many of the 100 are hostages?
I don't know. 10, 15.
And,
Mostly family of people in the towns they wanted to get stuff from.
and what are you doing with these hostages?
Mostly just hanging on to them until their families pay up.
And how many have?
A couple. 3 or 4.
Oh, the cult wants money? Gold?
Yeah. Pretty much anything shiny they can get their hands on.
Is it for the dragon? Dragons like shiny things, right?
Yeah, they're basically giant magpies.
So you're all going around culting to get shiny things for the dragon?
Yeah, pretty much.
How much you got already?
Well, I haven't seen all of it. But, it's not just us out here doing this, so it's gotta be a lot, right?
Where are they gonna take it?
I don't know.
Probably find that out at the camp.
Would Amalia know?
Maybe. If not, she'd know who does.
Okay. So we could find this Amalia lady, and if she can't tell us what we need to know, then we could take some people over to this camp and figure it out, I guess. We should probably get those people, though. I'm sure they miss all their families.
But Amalia's here right now. In the city. Or is she back at the camp?
She came with us. I don't know how much longer she's gonna stay.
She in the city?
Last time I saw her, she was on the west side. She sent us over here. I haven't seen her since a few hours ago.
Well, we should move quick and see if we can cut them off before they try to leave.
All right. Why don't we go check in with Red? Maybe he'd know where they were hanging out in the city. He's got all them keys, so he can let us in, right?
True.
I could also do some investigating undercover.
Like a spy? Wow. That's cool.
And I could always just hang out at a tavern. Those talks.
How many people are going to be in a tavern when a dragon is attacking the city?
Well, dragon's not attacking the city anymore. Is it? Is it right now attacking the city?
Since you sort of made it over to the mill, because you all had noticed sort of when you were getting ready to leave the keep that it was kind of circling farther and farther away. You haven't heard it, at least in the last like few minutes. So.
Okay. Fair point. Maybe nobody's going to be in a tavern, but people will be looking for something to take their mind for things.
So we should go where the people are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just back in the keep. We should probably let them know that we killed a bunch of people in the mill and
No, we
it's not
shouldn't do
on fire
that.
anymore.
We should let them know it's not on fire.
Okay.
All right. I'll see what I can find out. As long as you're close enough, I should be able to communicate.
Okay. You want help?
Can you make yourself look like a kobold?
Not today. I'm gonna look like this for another half hour or so.
Oh yeah, we should probably wait for that to wear off till we go back to town, huh?
Well, they
Or
know
we
what
could
we were
just
doing.
dispel it.
I'll say for stuff like that, since you've done it to yourself, if you would like, you can actively dismiss it.
Mhm.
All right. If you think you'll be safe by yourself.
Unless Leo wants to come as a mouse again.
I can do that.
Okay. What was his name? I forgot. Literally forgotten already.
And
Quinn, you want to get your new clothes real quick? Here, I'll do it. She'll go up, start stripping one of the bandits, take the clothes off, bring it on down. Here you go.
Thanks. Takes him from you. Kind of throws off the robe, changes the shirt.
Oh, here, I'll take that. Takes the robe, goes upstairs, puts it on the dead bandit.
Thanks. I don't think I'm gonna be climbing any ladders for a little bit.
So you won't come back to the key?
I'm gonna see if I can find my fence. You should still be here somewhere. But I'll bring your money back to the keep in a couple hours.
Okay.
That's good.
You better.
Thank you. I will. Cross my heart.
Cross your heart. What's the second half of that?
Hope to die.
There you go. Gladness has also never killed anybody except for now, but
Right. It's gonna take me a while to get there on this leg, so I'll see you. It's
Bye.
onto the shoes.
I'm glad you're not dead.
Me too. Me too. He limps gingerly out of the mill.
Okay. So, me and Glad go back to the keep and Pod and Leo go try to find the Somalia lady?
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Okay.
Should we like
Circle.
take a breather first? That gonna help anyway.
Like maybe rest for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
That means I get my spells back.
Settle down. Take a short rest in the mill.
Hey.
Warlock gets your spells back.
Hey.
You guys can use hit dice if you so choose. I think Pod's the only one that was earned. Wow, you can use hit dice. Should you choose, and any other benefits you get from a short rest. I think that is a good time for us to go ahead and take a break. Yes. So yeah, while the party rests briefly in the mill, about half an hour or so, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us so far. Progress being made here on the Forgotten. We will be back in just a brief few minutes after we refresh our snacks, our drinks, and ourselves. Take a breath, stretch, straighten your back out, do all that good stuff. We will see you back here shortly. So stick around. And welcome back, Internet. Thank you for hanging out with us during our break. We are refreshed. We are back. We are ready to split the party once again. I put my other music on. All right. So, Gladness and Marta, you are going back to the keep. Pod and Leo, you are doing some recon. Yes? All right, well, let's do team recon first. Then we'll see what the other two of you get up to at the keep before you reunite. So, Pod and Leo, any spells, any disguising that's going on, any strategizing, plans, questions, comments, concerns?
Based on what Pod has seen of the other kobolds that are working for the cult, would there be any need to disguise themselves? Like, are they wearing uniforms?
They're not wearing uniforms. It's a pretty diverse group, I would say. I mean, some of them are wearing like leathers and armor, some of them are not. So it's not really like a uniform or like a badge or anything.
I think Pod is comfortable being Pod then.
Okay.
Leo turns into a mouse once more.
All right, and Leo wild shapes into a mouse.
I like Pod's gonna like put their hood back and just like stick Leo in like the hood as it's folded back.
Perfect.
I like it.
And then Pod needs to get into their backpack. Marta needs to pick up the backpack, and then we've just like made a Matryoshka doll. Is going to be amazing. I'm very excited.
All right, so Leo tucked away in the hood of Pod's cowl. Where are you going?
Was thinking if we saw like the general direction that like the kobolds that we chased off and the other cultists and stuff where they went, but they also mentioned if that Amalia was probably on the west side was the last time, the western side of the city. So the direction that all the like the cultists went was it in a westerly direction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say they all went off kind of in the same direction.
Then that way, I think.
Okay. So the two of you head off in a westerly direction. Stealthing, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll stealth.
At least to like get up there, but like once we Pod may break that and actually like fold in with a group.
Yeah, that's fine. Just let me know when you would like to.
Yikes. I'm gonna use my knack.
Okay.
Uh, 13.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was chewing. Do I need to roll too?
Yeah, go ahead and roll since you're kind of hiding, kind of tucked in.
What am I rolling?
Stealth.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's a 12.
Okay. You've also got the advantage of being very small and hidden. Pod, what did you roll one more time? A 14?
13.
13. Okay. So you sort of dart in and out of alleys, making your way between buildings towards the westerly side of town. There are a couple of times where you come across a few members of these cults, a couple of kobolds, a masked humanoid here or there, but they don't seem to notice you. You kind of stay hidden in the shadows with Leo tucked away safely in your hood until you reach a building on the western side of town. I forgot I had a map of this town until right now. You guys want to see the map of the town?
Sure.
Sure.
I forgot I put it in here earlier today. Look at it, it's the town. So this is the fort in the center. This is the mill stuff out here. So you're headed this direction toward the west. So you see, you can see the river and everything. I wasn't just making it up. It's there. So you make your way sort of in between the buildings and down sort of one of these side roads until you reach a two buildings that are kind of like catty corner to each other. One of them very sort of long and low, with a few people milling about outside. One of them is one of these taller folk in the silver mask, accompanied by like 4 others that are not dressed to match. Most of them are in like leathers, some like leather armor, swords strapped to their belts. A couple of them kind of have like kerchiefs, like bandanas, like tied up around part of their face. They look more like bandits or mercenaries than anything. They're kind of milling about, talking amongst themselves outside the front of this building.
Can we get close enough to like overhear what they're talking about?
Yeah. They're not trying to be quiet by any means. A couple of them are talking to each other. Really just they just sound bored, really, is what it is. They're talking about some of the loot they hauled away earlier on. Was mostly like they said it was like a lot of small things, finding some gold here and there. They're just kind of like going over what they did today. Thought there would be more. What did you expect from this kind of town? You know, it's no Baldur's Gate, am I right? And they're just kind of making bandit small talk.
And we don't see like a larger group nearby. They're the only ones we're seeing right now.
They're the only ones you're seeing right now. You can hear some sounds coming from inside the building, and there are clearly like lights on in there. There are lanterns lit and stuff. So there's probably a larger group inside.
We'll telepathically to Leo. Also, I fucked up the telepathy. I can only imbue that to 2 people, not 3. So, because it's based on proficiency bonus, and I forgot my proficiency bonus is still only a 2.
That is correct. Well,
so,
somebody's going to be left out for a little bit.
I think I'll keep it on Leo for the wild shape and being able to talk to each other. And then probably keep the other one on Glad still, since Glad and Marta are together.
Okay.
Admit it, you just don't want to talk to Marta anymore. Fine.
No comment. So yeah, Pod will telepathically to Leo say, "Do you think you could get into the building? See what's in there?"
Sure. I mean, like, I'm kind of small and look like a mouse, so probably.
I can like toss you up on the roof or something.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Fine. Never get to throw anyone.
Yeah, I don't usually like being thrown. I mean, I haven't really been thrown before, but it doesn't sound fun.
Well, okay. If you can get inside and tell me what's in there. See if we see the lady with the purple robes.
Okay. Leo will scurry down and into the building. Probably in through a window. She can get up to a window.
Yeah, it's easy enough. You can kind of scurry up onto like a bench outside and then kind of like claw up to a windowsill. You squeeze your way through. The windows sort of cracked to let in some of the night air, and you scurry your way into what looks like a tavern. There are lots of tables that have been sort of pushed around, chairs that have been moved. There's no one standing behind the bar, or it doesn't look like there's anyone like working, any kind of like staff or anything like that, but sort of scattered around, sitting in chairs, talking to each other, playing cards and dice at some of the tables. You see a lot of folks. Most of them look like they're dressed similarly to the people that you saw outside, so armored, mostly in leathers, some with metal pieces on them, on their shoulders and boots and everything. A pretty scruffy looking bunch of folks in here, armed to the teeth and sitting around relaxing for the most part. You see a couple of the people in the robes and the silver masks. They are almost look like they're standing watch, kind of one leg posted up in each corner of the room, not really moving, just kind of observing what's going on around them. And then in one of the back corners near the bar, you see a woman in bright purple robes. She is relatively short. She's maybe hitting like 5'4", 5'5" at most. Thin, very short crops, or like a brown pixie cut, with like high cheekbones, and these bright purple robes that are trimmed with like gold and white. She's got a staff sort of slung across her back, a mace on one hip and a scimitar on the other, and you see her behind the bar, sort of rummage through a cabinet, like a shelf that's back there, pull out a couple of bottles, and sort of leap up and kind of slide her way over the bar, and then make her way to a table in the back corner where she sits them down. As she sits, sort of sitting to a couple, sitting with a couple of other people, and starts talking to them. There is some like parchment and things that are kind of laid out on the table, and it looks like they're going over them together. She is an anime protagonist. Yes. I've changed her name and made her more anime for my purposes, because this is my game.
Okay, I will telepathically describe this scene to Pod.
Can you see what's on the papers?
Can I see what's on the papers?
You certainly can if you get closer.
Gonna try and get closer.
Okay. Just go ahead and roll me a stealth. You are a mouse, so even if they see you, sort of the way they react to you is going to be that of mouse seeing. But
Okay. That's a 6.
okay, let me roll. Where is? Do you have perception? Of course you don't. Why would you?
Why would you be useful, NPC? God.
Wow, your wisdom's an 18. Why would you be good at anything? Okay. So the let me roll for. Nope, that's a 4. That's okay. All of the ads are very bad at all rolls. Okay. So you hop up, kind of run along the bar, kind of perching nearby, trying to peek over onto the table where the parchments are laid out. You see a map of the area. It looks like sort of the off to one side. You can probably guess. You guys have done enough traveling at this point. You've looked at maps, and you've been in this town for a while now. Off to one side, there's kind of a small sort of mapping out of what's probably Greenest, which is the town you're in. But it is a larger map sort of this area, so of green fields, the plateaus to the south, and then up above, the couple of towns that are up above that, and then finally in the top sort of westernmost corner is marked off Baldur's Gate. Several of the smaller mapped out places look to be like towns or like villages or nearby. Some of them are crossed out. Some of them are circled. There's some symbols like a map key on the side. And you can see that Greenest and the small part of it that is mapped out has been crossed out, like had an X put over it. And they are sitting there sort of discussing when they plan to head back to camp. And the woman in the purple robes can be heard. She kind of mutters under her breath, and then you hear her say, I think we're going to have to go tonight. Unfortunately, there's not much else to be had here, and we can't leave the clutch alone for too long. So, we'll send in the champion, let him have his fun. And then she stops as you move along the bar kind of to get a better look at what is sitting on the table, and you knock into a glass that's been left. It doesn't quite fall over, but it does shake and sort of make some noise. And the woman in the robes sort of turns, sees you, and not roughly, but like not so she doesn't hurt you or anything, but kind of puts her hand up on the bar and starts to like shoo you away, Leo. She's like, go on. There's nothing you to eat here. Vermin.
Okay, so they saw me, but they think I'm a mouse, so I think we're fine. There's a clutch someplace back at their camp, and they're sending in someone called the champion, I think. Is this a problem, Pod?
Pod's taking notes. Sorry.
Is this a problem, Pod?
What would Pod take away from hearing her talk about the clutch?
Well, I don't think Pod's going to assume it is a small handbag.
I would assume so. I mean, given Pod's... would Pod assume that this is, like, assuming that this is, they're referring to a nest, I would assume, not like a...
No, they probably mean like a clutch of eggs or something similar. I think that's a fair assumption for Pod to make.
You should probably come back out here. You mentioned something about a champion.
Yeah, that didn't sound great.
Does anyone in that bar look especially big?
Let me see.
They all look pretty big. This is the Buff Boy bar. They're...
Yeah, especially to me, I'm a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's kind of big.
That sounds like they're probably going to be sending somebody in to attack the keep, though. We should get back and warn the others.
Yeah. Okay, should I just come back to you then?
Question, and on the map that she had, was Baldur's Gate also crossed out?
No, they're... Hold, please. I think there's a symbol by Baldur's Gate. I don't remember which one I gave it.
Please stand by. Your campaign is very important to us.
Hold on, the map's loading.
It's buffering. It's buffering.
The GPU isn't powerful enough. The graphics package is taking a while to load in.
See, this is what happens when I don't write my own shit. Is it in the sun? No, there is nothing marked by Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
It's more of a landmark on the map because it's one of the major cities of the Sword Coast.
But no other cities on the map that had like marks on it or something.
There are a few like smaller villages that are like X'd out.
All right, yeah, You should come back out here, probably.
Okay.
Scampers away. Man, you rolled such bad stealth. I just like can't bring myself to have these people like hurt what they think are just little animals.
Yeah,
Like I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. She's a mouse. They're gonna be like, get out of here, little mouse. Not, I stab you. She casts Flame Strike. Oh, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. You scurry away, scamper back out the window, and return to the safety of the hood of Pod's cowl.
Can I assume that the map of the city is to scale and that this is less than a mile across?
Yeah, it's little.
Okay. Then
That's why
Pod
from the keep out to the mill was like maybe 500 feet.
Okay. Pod can keep talking with Glad within a mile, so
Yeah.
we'll
They were going to the keep, so you're good.
we'll send a message to them. So we might have a problem.
Can you elaborate?
We found Amalia. They were talking about leaving tonight, but they're gonna send in their champion first to have some fun.
Their champion. Like a Coliseum situation? We're in like podunk nowhere.
Usually a champion is like the strongest person in an army.
Okay, so not good. We have a problem.
Yeah, like some Achilles shit.
Are you talking to
Achilles?
Pod?
Does Achilles exist in
Tell him
Dungeons
hi.
and Dragons?
Yes, and he's a kobold legend.
Good.
Achilles is a famed kobold spearsman.
Bless.
Okay.
Let me write that down.
Don't know who that is, but great. Achilles. Sure.
It probably means they're gonna send a bunch of people and someone super bad to fuck up the fort later today.
Yeah, not good. So we have. Cool. I will talk to Marta and see what our options are.
Okay. I can try to blend in with their kobold fighters here and see if I can come in with the group that might be attacking the keep later. Or we can come back.
I'm worried about that. Stay put for now. Give us a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Marta. I was talking to Pod.
Hey, how are they? Everything okay?
No.
Are they okay? Do we have to
they're
go
okay
find some
right
people?
now. No, they're okay right now. Like they're not in immediate danger. But we might be in semi danger. It sounds like they're sending a cultist army and also something they called their champion.
Would that be the dragon?
I don't think so. I don't think it's the dragon. I think it's a person. But they're sending them to do bad, to destroy things.
Oh. We should probably
Here.
tell Red.
Yes, I do believe that might be a good idea.
Okay.
And then Pod suggested staying, like, hiding in their army. I'm a little worried about that. Not that I don't think Pod could hold their own, but Pod against who knows how many?
Guess I'm just worried that somebody from our side's gonna think Pod's one of the bad guys.
Yes, also that. But,
Let's ask Red. Well, maybe they want an inside person.
We can ask Red. Let's ask Red. I'm nervous, but let's do it. I feel like there are too many moving parts for my liking.
Well, lots of moving parts is what makes a clock.
It's also what makes clocks break.
I thought that was just one moving part that's not working anymore.
Exactly.
Marta thinks about that for way too long as they make their way back to the keep.
Oh, Gladness is gonna hate the rest of this module.
Oh yeah. Glad is like, I like simple plans. Never gets them.
He likes simple plans. He likes Sum 41.
I don't know. I fell
Just
off
really-
a simple plan in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Oh god. Okay. So you've we're making your way back to the keep while this was going on. I'm gonna assume like by the time Pod calls, y'all have probably made it back at that point. Again, not that far to go, and are kind of settling in, dusting off the dust of the mill. It was a flour mill, so you got a little dusty, but you can remedy that easily enough, and you seek out Red, who I did not write down what his voice sounded like. Does anyone remember?
Vaguely Irishy?
Yeah.
That sounds right. He's a dwarf.
There we go.
Okay. So he comes around the corner. I heard you were looking for me.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Question. So, I guess that the cultist people are gonna they're gonna leave tonight, but first they're gonna send in a bunch of peoples and a champion to mess stuff up in town.
Well, that's not exactly the good news I was hoping for.
But we have an inside person. If you want one. Do you want one?
Sure, I'll take all the help I can get.
You have an inside person. And a mouse. Who's also a person. But's a mouse right now.
Right. Sure.
So they should stay there?
Well, I'm not exactly your commanding officer, but
Well, just your opinion. We like to take opinions.
I mean, well, it's not the worst plan I can think of, if I'm being honest. Deception and subterfuge and espionage have never really been my thing, but if it's yours, well, we took on your help and offered to pay you for it, so be it.
That you did.
Okay. So tell Pod yes.
Okay.
Is that the small one?
That is the small one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Pod, you there?
Hold on. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. We're a go for the plan. Here's the thing. You are a spy, yes?
I can be.
Okay. This is a spy plan. This is not a kill as many as you can plan.
Yeah, no, I'm not just gonna start a fight with like an army of people.
Okay.
I'm not stupid.
I didn't think you were stupid. I just thought, let's forget it. Cool, good. So we're doing the spy plan.
Alright. I'll keep you updated on their movements and when they're coming into attack.
Perfect. We will be...
Tell him to tell us who the champion is when they find out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
I
Marta
overheard that
says...
on my end, you have the speaker on, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next time I'll cover my ears.
I'll allow telepathy speakerphone. If you don't cover at least one of your ears in a secret spy talk gesture, then you're on speakerphone.
Okay, so I'm not doing that.
Can you hear me? Hi, Bob.
After this.
You okay?
You don't have to shout in my ear, Marta. You don't have to shout right there.
I'm sorry.
The international symbol for telepathy and also spies. It kills me that you do this like instinctually.
I know, and I have to be really careful about it because I don't want to turn
there.
off my ear pods.
It's hilarious to me. Okay, sorry, I'm interrupting. My apologies.
All right.
But yeah, tell them to tell us who the champion is when they find out.
That's that.
Will do.
Cool.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do a little wibbly wobbly timey wimey here. Team Keep, Gladness and Marta. Is there anything else you all would like to do in the meantime? While Team Spy is infiltrating.
Tell them about, because I'm assuming that Glad told Marta all that stuff that he heard about.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and we know about the camp too already. Okay, so tell Red and the governor about the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe start making a plan to make that whole plan B thing if we survive the night of figuring out what to do, where to go on the camp run thing for all those hostages. Marta doesn't like hostages. That sounds awful.
Okay. So I won't make you run it all down for Red. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of the information that I was the one who gave it to you.
Gave us initially.
So I won't make you sit here and tell me what I told you.
Okay.
So you give Red a rundown. Do you leave anything out?
I want to leave out that we killed people.
Okay.
Marta's like, and then we
made them run away.
Yes.
Good on you. I'm sure some of them have a lot of different reasons for doing what they're doing. Much as I hate them, don't want to murder indiscriminately in my time.
No, because some of them just maybe want to be a baker.
That could be very true.
Or other things. Not just bakers.
Like
Sure.
a cobbler?
Bakers,
For shoes?
cobblers, candlestick makers, butchers. Anyway, the governor is being tended to currently. That wound to his face was a bit worse than we originally thought. He'll be all right. We got some healers looking after him. But in the meantime, if we're going to make a plan, you're going to be dealing with me, and you're going to be dealing with the sergeant. And as he says this, sort of motions for a woman to make her way over. She is in leather armor. It's old, but it's well taken care of, so like well oiled and everything. Big like knee-high boots, big great sword, sort of strapped across her back, with like blonde hair, tan skin, blonde hair that's kind of like pulled back in a tight bun. She makes her way over and nods to both of you. Well, you're going to be dealing with me in place of the governor. Sergeant Danson, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sergeant Danson. What's your first name?
Matilda.
Do you have any nicknames?
Quick question. If they're Sergeant Danson, does that mean at one point they were a Private Danson?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Yes, it does. This joke works on a lot of levels. Listen, the names in the module are stupid and I hate them, okay? I'm making up my own.
You come up with private
I'm
dances.
giving you the opportunity for the punchline, Savannah, and you're not letting me do it.
I'm not.
Sergeant, do you have any nicknames?
Well, I've gathered a couple over the years. Mostly they've been weapons related, but my men call me Mutt.
There it is. All right, Mutt. What do you think?
Well, if this business about the champion is true, we're gonna have a bit of an issue. See, what I think we're running up against is some old traditions from in the green fields and other places. Most towns, villages, cities, anywhere they can have kind of a stand-in militia of sorts would have a champion. So if I could just close the chat for a goddamn second, think about what I'm trying to say. If they're thinking what I think they're thinking, they're gonna send some big strong motherfucker up in here to fight our biggest, strongest motherfucker. And well, unfortunately that's me, usually.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, it's why I carry the big fuck off sword and everything.
Mhm.
But I'm getting up there a little bit. These old knees and elbows and such aren't what they used to be. So I'm open to ideas at this point.
How do you feel about cheating in fair fights?
Terrible, and I hate it.
Cool, then everything I'm going to come up with is off the table.
Well, at least you're honest about that, so cheers to you. I don't like it. And if I'm right, which about these particular things I usually am, that kind of thing don't fly in man-to-man combat.
Let's say they're not going to be playing by the rules. Potentially.
That's fair too. I'll cop to that. Laying siege to a village and burning down people's homes ain't exactly playing by the rules of fair warfare. So
I'd say not. Well, seems our numbers aren't many, but we have some tricks, and we have, hopefully, the element of surprise. They're only expecting you and a few others, maybe. But I think we could probably figure out some kind of plan.
What would you have in mind?
Mostly was thinking having myself and a few of my friends hiding and then coming in when it seemed like they thought they had the upper hand.
All right. Little guerrilla warfare.
Mm-hmm.
I can get down on that.
Is Leo going to turn into a gorilla?
I mean, can she?
Don't have any wild shapes left.
No, Leo's not going to turn into a gorilla today.
Okay.
She can do it
Well,
herself.
then
though.
we have to come up with a new plan then, right?
So it's Guerilla. It's not. It's not a gorilla. Yeah, it's a different.
Guerrilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like hiding out in the trenches,
Right.
sneaking around, sneaking up on them, jumping out.
Pulls
when they
out her
least
tome,
expect you.
writes something down. Got it.
Perfect.
And now, did you say Leo?
Yeah, one of our friends is named Leo.
Well, her name's Aurelio, but
Right. So I got a friend travels around these parts named Leo too. So I got silly. There's no way that's the same person.
Our friend Pod knows a Leo.
Is it the same Leo or is this a different?
Well, they said that was the first Leo that they knew, so they were going to call him Leo 1. And then our Leo, Lio, said that she wanted to be Leo 1. And so she's Leo 1, and now that's Leo 2.
Pod,
Yep.
what's Leo's last name? Yours?
Erlanthar.
Thanks. Yeah, ours is Aurelio Carlin, but we do also know of Leo. The thing Val said.
Yeah.
That's got to be him. His name is a little hard to pronounce, I would say. He's not from around here. One of those real punchy types, way of the fist and all that. You know?
Me? No. But we have a friend who does.
Right. Well, I have to talk to your friend, our Leo. He's been missing for a couple of days, so.
Well, that might be something we need to talk to our friend about, because I'm pretty sure they were coming here looking for him.
Sure. Well, he's a traveler type, so it's possible he just hit the road. But usually we have one good old 1-2 sparring match before he leaves. So it's kind of weird for him to just go. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's not what you came here to talk to me about.
You think he's a cultist now?
Oh, no way.
Okay. You know him better, so.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Kind of weird, but like I said, he ain't from around here.
Weird how?
Well, he's got that that like brain magic type stuff.
Oh, like Pod.
I mean, I don't know Pod, but maybe.
Like he's a sorcerer?
No, he's a monk type, but he's got some abilities.
Gotcha.
I'm not real versed in the ways of magic, other than the magic of being able to swing a sword.
Our friend, she just keeps repeating over and over like a 3-year-old, waiting for them to finish.
Your friend Pod
can make daggers with mind.
Oh well, yeah, it's kind of similar. So, well, anyway, I digress. Once again, I apologize. So, you all do a little illusory bits, or some disguises, or just some straight up sneaking. I've got some shovels. Options. We can dig some trenches out in the back if we really need them. It's gonna take a while.
I have a disguise kit. We have disguise self as an option. We have people that can turn into mice.
So are we gonna hide, and then you're gonna do the champion thing, and then while the champion thing's going on, we're gonna do sneaky stuff on the side? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
And because Pod's going to be inside, they can let us know what the best time to attack is. Yeah?
I like where this is going.
Perfect.
Now, my one question for you is, if this is what I think it is, we're gonna have to put up a champion.
It's not you?
If you want it to be me, it can be me. And I'm gonna let you know right now, I've been out of the fighting game for a little bit. And if you want someone to hold them off, I'll do what I can. But you need my sword, it's yours.
Do you have any of your people that are really good at fighting?
I mean, anybody who trained under me is pretty damn good at fighting, but I'm not gonna send them out there to die. For all we know, their champion could be that damn dragon that was flying around.
That's what I said.
Hey, Marta.
Yeah?
You have that spell that makes you, well, it's a disguise self thing, isn't it? You can look really big, right?
Yeah, I could.
How do you feel about being the champion and just trying to intimidate the heck out of them?
I can try. Bass told me this thing that if I get in front of a bunch of people, I can make a bunch of people either real like me or get real scared of me real fast.
Do the real scared one. I think that's a really good idea for this one.
Okay. Sure. I can make
we
myself
have our
look
champion.
real big.
Should we outfit you with some gear just in case?
Let's make her look scary.
Now that I can do.
Perfect.
And Sergeant Danson goes over to one of the walls, sort of shifts over. There's lots of like crates and stuff, sort of just like barehanded very easily. These huge like equipment crates, just kind of like shifts them over and starts like pulling some stuff out. Pulls out like a chest plate. Is just kind of like handing stuff back to you, Gladness, hoping you're taking it. Pulls out like a chest plate. Pulls out a sort of like a half, like a shoulder, like half cloak with like the crest of the town emblazoned on it. It's like bright red, like the blood of your enemies. Like hands it back to you, and it's like, now that's what I'm talking about. And pulls out hilt first, just this huge maul, like just a giant fuck off hammer. With like a leather wrap around it, and the ends of it are like on the hammer end. It's all like big like metal spikes on it. What do you think?
I love it. Marta, can you hold that?
Is it like fuck off heavy?
It's very heavy, but Marta can handle it.
Yeah, she can carry stuff.
Just carrying it, it's fine. If you were to have to actually fight with it, that might be a different story. But it's big and terrifying, and what you thought might have been some rust on the top might not be.
Oh, okay.
Now it's seen its better days, but those better days were something, let me tell you what.
All right, well, Marta, don't swing that. Just hold it. Yeah, make a mean face. Perfect. Little less mean. Maybe just look focused. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. Love it. Great. I think that you look the part, even if you aren't. And not saying that you can't hold your own. I believe you can, in a way, but not with that.
Yeah, I can do with other stuff, but not.
Yeah,
probably not.
And we might need that. We probably will need that other stuff. But right now, I'm more worried about trying to make them leave before we have to fight it all.
Right.
Good. Okay. Odd.
Yep. Go for pod.
Awesome.
You're on speaker pod.
I think we've got a plan.
All right.
We are going to have Marta look like a champion, and the rest of us are going to be hiding. You're going to be an inside person, and you can let us know when the best time to attack is.
Okay. And what happens when their champion tries to hit our champion?
We do 4 against 1.
I like those odds.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Gladness and Marta, get ready. We're going to go back a ways because while that was going on, Pod and Leo were continuing to infiltrate. So what is the plan there? What do you want to have done?
Well, I'll take suggestions from Leo as the mouse on Pod's shoulder. But Pod was thinking about trying to find, like... I was thinking about, like, waiting outside the tavern until somebody went, because they mentioned about, like, sending word to the champion that they could have their fun tonight. So I was thinking about, like, following whoever that person is to where the group of soldiers would be, where the champion is located, and then trying to, like, insert themselves into the fold.
Ooh, steal their armor.
They've got no breeches.
You, like, steal it, like, to wear it, or just steal it so they don't have it?
Steal it so that they don't have it. I don't know if it would fit any of us.
No, I don't think so, but I like that idea.
Yeah, maybe their weapons too.
Okay, yeah. Or we sabotage their weapons.
Ooh, that's a good idea too.
Like, if they have a sword, I could, like, mix up some glue and put it in their scabbard.
Ooh, yeah. I was thinking we can, like, make it so that the hilt comes off too.
Or both.
Yeah.
I could put, like, tacks in their shoes so they're really uncomfortable while they walk.
And we can put slits in the straps of their armor so that if they try and put it on, it just falls off of them.
I'm gonna do all of this.
Okay.
So as you're having this conversation, nearby, I assume outside the tavern still, you see the door open. The door swings open as if someone has pushed it pretty hard. It sort of bangs against the tavern wall, the outer wall, and you see Amalia in her purple robes step out and address the figure in the mask that is standing out there, sort of essentially babysitting these mercenaries that are hanging out outside, I don't know, smoking, getting some fresh air, who knows. But she steps out and looks towards them. They kind of stand at attention. She says, "It's time. We're gonna send him in and then get the fuck back to camp." So, and she sort of takes a deep breath and then rips her staff off of her back and bangs it against the tavern wall like multiple times, kind of making a ruckus. "Fetch, Langadrosa! It's time to end this town." And the person in the mask sort of nods and quickly turns with the mercenaries in tow and starts to head off to the west out of the village.
Gonna follow.
Okay, go ahead and roll stealth. I assume, unless you just want to run off down the street.
No, I think still being stealthy until we can fold ourselves into their attack force.
And I will put the name in the Roll20 chat because it's crazy.
Oh my god. My stealth rolls have been so bad. I'm gonna use my thing again.
Okay.
And that's even... Alright, 12.
Okay. Do. That's an 18. So,
I see.
That one didn't whisper to me. Sorry, I wasn't trying to rub it in. I just don't understand how to use Roll20.
I'll take my dice back then, since I failed.
You can have it back. That is how this works. So there we go. So you take off with Leo in tow, and you get about I don't know. They make it about 200-300 feet before they seem to hear footsteps behind them, and one of the mercenaries sort of stops and turns, and they try to duck and sort of hide out of the way. They see you. You're not that far away, so one of the mercenaries' pod sort of walks up to you, kind of grabs you by the scruff, and just says, "Keep up, little one. You're gonna fall behind."
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Now go on, fetch the champion. And he kind of like tosses you, like not to hurt you, but kind of like tosses you and kind of like pushes you on down the road. And so you kind of find yourself in between some of these mercenaries as they rush following the masked figure.
Leo just says, "See, being thrown isn't fun."
Just telepathically back. All right, fair point.
And you follow along. The mercenaries and the masked figure make their way with you in tow out of the city. Well, not really city, town, village, and just a little ways down, you can see a couple of like campfires that have been set up just outside the town on the western side. Excuse me. And the masked figure doesn't say anything, but sort of looks back toward one of the mercenaries, the one that saw you and kind of tossed you along and said, "Let's go, little guy." And that mercenary sort of puts a hand on your back pod and pushes you towards a tent that has been set up near one of these fires. The tent is this sort of very bright, you can even tell sort of in the night that has fallen in the firelight, is this incredibly bright, like royal blue color. And he pushes you along and says, "We'll go on. Fetch him."
Pod pushes inside the tent.
You push inside the tent. It's pretty big on the inside. It's bigger on the inside than it looks. On one side, there is a sort of a makeshift bed that's kind of been built with a couple of like feather mattresses thrown on top. It is very large, very long, sort of very wide, probably the biggest bed Pod's ever seen, I would imagine. There is a stand with some sort of very nice, like splint mail armor sitting on it. And next to that, a weapons rack has been set up, and there are a couple of spears, as well as a huge greatsword that have been set upon them. And sitting on the edge of the bed, sort of fiddling with like a leather scabbard or something, you see a huge person. They are probably almost 8 feet tall. Muscular arms and legs. No shoes because their feet are taloned, covered in blue scales, and with a long sort of dragon-like snout, and these like fans sort of going up and like cresting behind their eyes towards the back of their head. You see the half-dragon champion.
Sup, brah?
And Draconic, obviously.
And Draconic. He looks up, gives a huge, sort of scaly grin, big, sharp, pointy teeth, looking down at you through these like big, like bright blue lizard eyes. Well, hello there, little one.
Hi. You're even bigger in person.
Most people tell me that.
I was sent here to let you know that Amalia says you're go.
He claps 2 massive taloned hands. I mean, they're bigger than your head, Pod. If he clapped your head in between them, it would probably crush it. Just claps those hands together and says, "Excellent! It's about time we had some fun around here, don't you think?"
Oh yeah, I'm super bored.
I can imagine.
Yeah, really boring, setting shops on fire just gets old after a while.
Well, we can't all be the dragon's champion, I suppose. But, and he has sort of like stood up, and I mean, he's huge, like over 8 feet tall, and just all dragon muscles. So it walks over, kind of leans down, and like pats you on the head, and it feels like he's going to like drill you into the center of the earth. Like you get a little shorter as he does. You, my small friend, are doing your part, though.
I appreciate the recognition. I really do. Like you are. You're here. Like what? I have to ask. Like, what's your secret? Like, is it like protein supplements? Is it? What's your regimen?
You know what? I've been called to battle, so honestly, I don't have time to lay it all out for you now. But tell you what, what was your name?
Mike.
Mike. Excellent, Mike. Young, small Mike with the cowl. I will remember you. And I tell you what, I won't write it up because pens and quills are a bit difficult for these bad boys. But I tell you what, I will have one of the scribes write it up for you, and I'll send it to you. We can all benefit from some good old-fashioned exercise.
Exactly. Yeah. If I could grow up to be even a quarter of your size, I'd feel very accomplished. You know, if you want, I can, because we're kind of short on notice, I can help get your equipment ready for you if you'd like.
And have you roll.
Okay.
Persuasion or deception, your choice.
Equally bad.
I've accidentally made the lizard man All Might.
I love him. Is he romanceable?
I'm running the game. Everyone is romanceable.
Sweet. Well, that's a natural 1. -1
Oh, buddy.
is a 0. I could add a die to this, but I think I'm going to be getting it back if I do.
It's up to you.
I'll do it anyway.
I'm going to roll for him.
That's a 5.
man.
So that's a total of 5. Just like a infinity improvement over my previous roll.
Well, he rolled a 6.
Damn it.
Can I give him Bardic, or can I, oh my god, can I give them Bardic Inspiration? Can I try this?
Could you do telepathic
Is there-
Bardic Inspiration?
Is there?
They don't have to
there's
be
not
nearby.
I was gonna say there's not a range on Bardic Inspiration, is there? You just have to talk to them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it, go for it.
Oh my
Pod
god.
Pod left the line open. What do you say?
So I heard this going on, and I just go, Pod, you know what? If you really put your mind to it, I bet that you could be as big and strong as you wanted.
Like, just like a little bigger, like 4 inches taller would be
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I could.
you could do it. Absolutely, you
do
could
it.
do it if you put your mind to it. I believe in you, Pod,
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I
this
could do it.
specific thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna beat him up right now.
Well, I ruled last time that Ty goes to the party, so if you use the inspiration, you can't lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Well,
he
yeah,
rolled a
I'll use
6.
I rolled a 5 anyway, so.
So that's 10, so that's enough. You'd excellent use of an ability that you should probably have to be in the same room as folks who use, but I'm
'Cause I
not
think that
changing
it's like
it.
you only have to hear them and
Yeah, that's it.
That's gotta be it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. We're keeping it. Yeah. So he the name is Longdedrosa, which I kept from the book because last name, even better, maybe you'll find out. Longdedrosa sort of stretches, looks over towards his equipment, and Pod, I think, just kind of like palms you like a football. Says, "All right, young Mike. We're in this together today, I suppose," and just kind of chucks you towards the weapons. Says, "I am going to don my splint crack mail crack." He says crack out loud as he cracks his neck. You are going to be in charge of making sure my weapons are oiled and prepared. Now, I know you haven't worked with me specifically before, so I will say the sword, it doesn't have a sheath. It's just too big for that. So I've got some straps around here somewhere. But you know what? I'm not going to do your job for you. We'll be ready in 10.
Yes, sir.
Excellent, young Mike. All right. And he starts to strap on his splint mail.
Leo just in Pod's head just do you need me to like try and distract him while you do whatever it is you're gonna do to his stuff, or
I'm worried what would happen if he tried to step on you.
well, I mean, I could distract him not as a mouse.
What did you have in mind?
Well, I don't know. I just thought I might just kind of, flirt a little bit.
Listen, you live your truth. If that's what you want, like, I don't blame you at all. I mean, I considered it. I worry what Glad will do if this goes bad, though. But you know
Why?
what?
Glad's
You
not
do your
scary.
thing. All right. Listen. Your life.
Yeah, I'm just worried about getting out of the tent afterwards. I'll figure it out.
I'd be worried about that too. I mean, he's pretty big.
Leo as a mouse is going to scamper just outside the tent, turn back into herself, and then open up the tent. Hello?
Longdedrosa hears you, sort of finishes the last kind of buckle on the shoulder of his splint mail, turns, sees you. Big toothy smile. Hello.
Hi, they sent me to just see if you needed anything, refreshments or something, or maybe a massage before the big battle.
Refreshments, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Massage, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Well. Do I know you?
Well, I've been around.
Well, clearly you haven't been around me enough. What is your name?
Oh, I'm Glenn.
Did you say Glenn?
Yeah.
Glenn. And he approaches, sort of takes one of her hands, like a beautiful forest glen on a spring day.
Exactly. That's what I was named for.
Well, that's wonderful. Mike, are you hearing this? Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Uh-huh.
Glenn, I would absolutely die for a mead right now. Would you share one with me?
Of
A pre-battle
course.
drink?
Yes, that sounds great.
Wonderful. He sort of looks at you expectantly.
Right. Well, I'll go get that mead, unless you want to accompany me while Mike finishes up in here.
Have you roll persuasion?
Okay.
I think with advantage.
Okay, I haven't
Because
been
this
rolling
is
well
like-
today.
This is something. And let me tell you, it's not what I expected.
That is a dirty 20.
Okay, let me just... Oh, no, big idiot. All right, here we go.
Get it, Glenn. You get
His
it,
wisdom
Glenn.
is actually not that bad. I just keep rolling 7s. So he's rolled a 7. So he looks at you, sort of looks back at you, Pod, and says, Mike, I shall return. With mead for you too. I will not let even the smallest of friends be left out of this celebration. And he turns to you, Leo, I think offers an arm, has to kind of lean down because the man is 8 fucking feet tall.
Yeah, Leo's like 5'3".
Just sort of like, it's like his forearm. He can like hold his wrist. So he puts it
Yay.
down there. Now I would be remiss if I did not accompany you to fetch these drinks. Let us take a walk.
Perfect.
And you exit the tent with the giant dragon man and head toward the tavern. Do you talk about anything along the way?
Yes. So, is there? Can I call you Drosa?
Of course.
Perfect. Well, I was just wondering how you got into the whole champion of a dragon cult business. Like, it's very fascinating to me.
Well, my dear Glenn, it's really simpler than I think it probably seems. I, as you can see, am half dragon.
Mhm.
And, well, I'm very strong and good at fighting.
But surely you had other dreams and things that you wish to pursue in life.
Oh, well, my ultimate dream, I think, is for glory, and not just glory for me, but glory for my family, glory for my mother.
Is that your mother above the city?
Oh, yes.
Oh. Very nice. Well, she has lovely skills. You clearly take after her.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so this is all there is to it. You just really like fighting and want glory and stuff, huh?
I do very much enjoy a good fight. Yes, there's something about the glory of it. The winning, obviously, is it sort of comes natural to someone of my stature and my skill, but also there's something about fighting someone one-on-one, the honor of it all, the seeing the fire in your opponent's eyes, there's just something there that you don't get anywhere else.
Do you think a small town like this has someone who can give you that feeling, that fire?
You've made it to the tavern at this point, and he's sort of just reaching across. Doesn't have to go behind the bar, just sort of reaches across and just pulls out some bottles of mead and is going to carry them back. You know, dear Glenn, that's the thing. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter the size of the town. You could be from Waterdeep or Baldur's Gate, or you could be from right here, Little Greenest. The fire in people's hearts is the same. Everyone has passion for something. Every town has a champion, just as every town has a butcher, a baker, a cobbler. And they all love what they do so much that they devote their lives to it. Maybe you devote your life to something else. I devote mine to the sword, and I believe there is someone in this town that does the same.
Well, that's very inspiring.
I know! I wrote it myself.
Being a public speaker or a hype man or something like that, going from town to town, just getting everyone excited, lighting that fire under them?
No, I haven't. I've always sort of functioned as my own hype man, if I'm being honest. No one, well, except for my mother, of course, has ever really had as much hype for me as me. So.
All right, well, that's all very lovely. Shall we take the mead back?
We shall. Tell me, what is it that you have a passion for, my dear Glenn?
Dragons.
You don't say.
I do say.
Well, I'm at least half of one of those, so
I can see that.
Perhaps you can find some passion for me.
Perhaps I can.
What a lovely trip this is turning out to be. Come, we shall have some mead, we shall have a good fight, and perhaps we shall have a good night.
Yep.
Leads you back to the tent. Pod, you get some mead too. What have you been doing? while this is happening. While I've been, I think, possessed by a ghost of a character I didn't know existed.
I wanted to sabotage his weapons, but now I'm rooting for him.
Same.
I'm gonna be real with you guys and pull back the curtain a little bit. Had no idea what this character was gonna be like till he showed up.
I think there's a moment where Pod's having a conversation telepathically, being like, listen, we could just join them. I mean, this dude's clearly got it figured out. No takers? Okay.
What have you been doing?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is that Pod? What are they saying? They're saying we should switch sides and become evil?
They said they want to join them.
I mean, if there was some sort of very attractive, charismatic leader, I mean, I might be down with that, but I don't know.
You don't even know the half of it.
I'm for some reason threatened by this.
Huh. Well, Leo isn't.
We'll address that later.
Pod's gonna sabotage his sword.
Okay, what are you gonna do to it?
I think what
his sword, really? He loves it so much.
I already feel guilty enough. Don't add on to it. I'm just hoping that this will come across like an accident and we can still be friends later.
All right. Well, let's do this because I'm already taking up too much of your time tonight, and there's a thing I want to get to. So to end on. So what do you want to do to the sword?
I think what Pod's gonna do is still like polish the sword, make it look really nice, get the leather wrapping, everything. Like wants it to look as nice as possible. But I think just like where the blade meets the crossguard is gonna take like their hammer and their piton and try to crack like where it meets. To like create a fault in it so that when they swing it, if they hit something hard, then the blade might break.
Okay. Let me write this down.
Because I think that's the most that Pod could do subtly here, without not just being like, oops, I broke your sword.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's enough time. I think you can manage to do that. Because you're not just like smashing it.
No.
Just kind of weakening the grip, so it may potentially break on a hit. Okay. So you do this. Longdedrosa and Leo return to the tent. He partakes in some mead. The other two of you, that's up to you to decide.
Could Pod try to challenge him to a drinking contest and subtly not drink anything?
I'm not usually one to say no. However, the man's whole life is honorable single combat, and I don't think he would go for it.
That's fair. That seems like a long shot.
You could try to persuade him. That would be like a crazy check, like crazy high check.
I just thought we'd have fun. I felt a connection here, but I get it. You're busy. You got work.
No, Kyle, Mike. I just said I don't know who Kyle is.
Huh? That's exactly what he said. He completely forgot his name.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying later.
Later, Mike.
Who is Kyle?
I don't.
Okay, later.
Well, I think it's time for us to be off, don't you?
Yes, sir.
To an honorable fight and a wonderful night. And he finishes the last of his bottle of mead, picks up his sword, takes the spears, sticks them in a sort of quiver by his way. He just literally has a spear quiver. He's very large, and heads out, and with a following, including Pod and Leo, I assume. He makes his way to the center of town, where soon after, I'm just gonna do a little drama to end on.
Do Pod and Leo let us know that, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're keeping y'all apprised of that we're approaching and where we're approaching from and all that.
Okay.
The song is called Death or Glory. From inside the keep.
Cake?
Okay, go dead. Marta and Gladness. You, as well as Sergeant Danson and Red, and the other folks that are up here in the tower with you, start to hear shouting from the front of the keep. You make your way sort of out onto, there's essentially like a, you can make your way out kind of onto like the battlements, essentially, kind of like the wall, overlooking the front courtyard of the keep, where a group of folks have made their way into that front courtyard. You see amongst the group, I assume signaling to you somehow, Pod amongst many other kobolds there, Leo? Where are you?
You know how like wrestlers have like the girls that accompany them to the
You're a ring girl.
Yeah.
On the arm of an 8-foot-tall, blue-scaled dragon man with a great sword strapped to his back and spears at his side, Leo, standing, looking, I don't know, content, nervous, happy, waving.
Yeah.
Sort of waves up to you from the side of this giant. And from the center of the courtyard, as a voice starts to ring out, loud and confident, up towards the battlements. From behind this figure, you see several of these robed, masked figures dragging prisoners with them. They take a few of these prisoners and sort of put them on their knees at the edge of what is essentially becoming a ring that people are forming in the courtyard. And the blue dragon man's voice rings out across the courtyard and up to the battlements. Defenders of Greenest! This has been a successful night, and I'm feeling generous. My people have taken prisoners that I am sure you will want returned to you safely. I have no need for them, nor does our patron, so I would see them back to you safely, unharmed, unwounded. Send out your best warrior to challenge me, and you may have these 4 in exchange. And he gestures back to the 4 prisoners that have sort of been forced to the front of the ring. Beside you, Gladness and Marta, you hear a gasp and sort of sharp intake of breath from Sergeant Danson as she makes her way up next to you, looks down over the battlements at the prisoners, looks to the 2 of you almost with tears in her eyes, and says, I'm sorry, folks. We're going to have to change plans. That's my
What?
sister. And I think that is a good place to end our session for tonight. I've caused all of the drama I can for today. As things start to come together, and you realize that the people that have been taken prisoner may be the family of someone that you've come to know here in the keep. We will end our session for tonight because I've already gone so far over time. I'm so sorry. Just really wanted to get to a certain point. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Thanks to all of our lovely friends in chat for your engagement and all of the fun we've been having talking to you tonight. Thank you to my lovely players for hanging out and going on this journey, which has turned into quite the journey, I would say, so far. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I'm not sorry for any of it. Is really where I live. How are you guys doing? How we feeling?
Even if we lose them, I'm really glad we got to meet the half-dragon All Might. Just in my heart, I feel better to have known them.
If they die, I'm leaving the campaign.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're gonna have to find out next week because we will be back for the show 1 week from today, next Monday. That is going to be your October 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, we have a bunch of stuff going on this channel as always. We will not have a stream tomorrow because some of the Tabletop Tuesdays cast is either traveling or has other commitments, so they will be back next week as well. But we will have Elegant Magics on Thursday. We're playing Good Society. Neon Souls on Friday. We're playing Fate. Mistborn on Saturday night's Mistborn. We were playing the Mistborn RPG based on the series by Brandon Sanderson. And then we will be back on Sunday for the first episode of the new season of Slaying 201. We're bringing back Monster of the Week and some fun old characters from the previous season. And then we'll be back around for this on Monday. I'm pumped. I've completely shot my voice, and I know better than this. So I'm gonna stop talking for a second. Do you guys have anything you want to plug or promote or say or talk about? Did you get any feelings out there before we end?
I have many feelings about the half-dragon, but I don't think that's appropriate for stream, so we'll talk about it later.
All right. Well, as we all ponder our feelings for Longdedrosa, last name withheld, I guess we'll see what happens next week. So thank you so much to my wonderful cast for going with me on this ride, because everything I DM is a freaking roller coaster. And I appreciate you all for strapping in, hanging on till the end. So we will see everybody back for the next episode of The Forgotten 1 week from today, Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, good game and good night, Internet.